That last chapter ended with a very beautiful song by an Argentine 80s band titled No Se Desesperen. Such a good song by Los Abuelos de la Nada. There's a line there about wanting to be a father, and I sneaked it in because my real father was the one who showed me the band. Something that doesn't get talked a lot about this novel is how Mikhail is, plot-wise, running the same course that his father had done when he was a youth. I don't explore it that much because I didn't think it was that important, but later when I read some literary theory by Northrop Frye, he claims that all travel stories are quests to find one's father. It's one of those Frye lines that he just drops into his Anatomy of Theory. Yeah. If you think about any other quest, you start to doubt that. Like, is Frodo and Sam's quest a search for their father? I guess Frodo does repeat Bilbo's adventurous spirit. Reiterates. King Arthur is looking for the Holy Grail. And if we believe Dan Brown in the Da Vinci Code, the Holy Grail represents Mary Magdalene, not a father. So I don't know, Northrop Frye, I like the idea. It definitely applies to my book, where Mikhail's looking for his father. And there will be little gestures here and there signaling that search for his father. Which, again, I kind of regret not really putting it into the book. It would have given it a nice layer. But anyway, here goes chapter 11. Chapter 11. On France's veiny hand glimmered its most precious pearl, Bordeaux, a city built on the wine trade and sustained thereon thereafter. The style and finesse of the Bordelais, unmatched, whether it's a walk to the corner store for a wheel of Camembert or a night of exquisite Opéra Nationale at the Grand Théâtre. The citizens there walked upright, dressed well, and looked ahead. Alex was already in Bordeaux, so Rick and I unpacked quicker than usual at our usual 2-star hotel and headed out to reunite with our friend. We shared airplane stories of woe, of jet lag, and caught up on our lives. "How's the house?" I asked. "Great," he replied. "We should renew." "Sweet burgundy shirt?" Rick asked, muting the topic. "Not burnt orange for once." "That's not burgundy," I said. "How's Jenna?" "She made this for me," he replied, picking a piece of lint off his shoulder. Guess what color she calls it? Walking the smooth sidewalks of that modern metropolis, I was glad to be with Rick and Alex again. When a new character is added to a party in a video game, their unique talent brings the entire game to the next level. I knew Alex would help us one-up. Aside from being a guitarist, he was an up-and-coming freelancer in the Austin film scene, full of observations and ideas, quiet and shy out in the field, but an implosion of introspection off camera. The opposite of Rick, though the two of them got along like two ends of a parallel circuit. Too well. For example, Alex pulled out a handy 16mm from his bag and Rick lost his mind, and the two of them opened it up and scooped the apparatus while I sat at the lunch table and picked at the parsley leaves in the bowl of frites that we had ordered to share. Those greens did nothing to pacify my jealousy. Their connection felt so right from my passenger seat. At times I felt like the extra battery that the back of your favorite toy doesn't need. Anyway, what I wasn't jealous of was Alex's clean cut, perfumed, new baby boy look, freshly woven shirt, and trimmed beard that cast no surprising shadows, held in no grease. To boot, his backpack still had on its checked luggage tag. Compare this to Rick and me, who by then had 2 weeks of twisted chin, whiskers shooting out in all four cardinal directions, and big toe holes on both front ends of our socks. The freshness about Alex wasn't a surprise, yet felt strange and out of place at the same time because I had imagined he would arrive as worn out and kicked in as Rick and I had grown over the last 2 weeks. No matter. Alex figured it out eventually, and after a while was as scruffy and happy as us, beginning almost immediately as he spilled beer over his new shirt at the first English pub of many that night. When we began a game of round for round where each order brought us 3 rounds of 3 beers apiece, it was great because by the end of our 3-order set we felt like we had broken even. Unbroken was the paved Rue Sainte Catherine, a long straight road lined with electric lamps stretching far out in front. Alex, though his shirt swayed in the brisk summer air, drenched in malty liquid, managed to keep his 16mm completely sober. He pulled it out and shot film down the road of his and Rick's feet skipping along. I met Alex through Rick. They had met in an editing course back in college. Both were passed out in class when the professor interrupted his lecture to wake them up. He announced he would flunk them both if they ever slept in his class again. The whole class jeered. The 2 boys turned to one another, nodded their heads simultaneously, and dropped the class then and there. As Rick tells it, right before stepping out of the front door, he stared at the stunned professor in his eyes and dropped a metaphoric microphone on the ground before stumbling out. "You can really see perspective," Rick said, pretending to shoot lasers out of his fingers, scaring off some of the tourists of La Rue Sainte Catherine. "You always see perspective," Alex said, slapping Rick's hands down and shooting his inaugural take of us on that infinite stretch of road. Otherwise, he didn't talk much as the night progressed.